saying that anywhere around the world you can find a Ghanaian. I didn't believe that until I met our special guest. Guys, hello and welcome to yet another episode of Roots. My name is Ms. Drew, your hostess with the mostest, and this is the show where we speak to other members from the diaspora, like myself, and find out their journeys, their inspirations, everything about why they moved to Ghana and what exactly they are doing here. Today, I have a very, very special guest all the way from Australia. Yes, that's 24 hours on a plane, guys. 24 hours. She is the beautiful Jasmine Amma.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm good. You looking amazing. You're nice and flowering. You're yellow.
So are you.
Thank you. Now, Jasmine, this is like Ghana month. Okay, so today I'm finding all about you and your roots.
Okay.
You know, how well do you know Ghana?
Oh gosh. That is such a hard question.
It is. Don't worry, I'm going to ease you in. But before we get into it, why don't you tell us a little bit about you, you know, where you're from, how long you've been in Ghana, your journey, just in a nutshell. Who is Jasmine?
Sure. So my name is Jasmine Amma. I was originally born in Australia. So I lived there till I was about 5 years old, and then I moved to Ghana. So I stayed in Ghana from when I was 5 till 17. And then I moved back to Australia.
Oh, wow.
And then I stayed there till I was 30 and then moved back to Ghana.
Oh, nice.
So it's been a lot of back and forth. So I spent half of my life in Ghana, half of my life over there.
So you spent half of your life in Ghana?
Yes.
Half of your life in Ghana, half of your life in Australia?
Yes, that's right. So I've been back for about a year now. And currently I work for myself. So I do YouTube and I also sell natural hair care and skincare. Yeah.
Australia, I mean... So you went back to Australia till you said about 17.
Yes.
So what was life like as a Ghanaian in Australia?
So it was, I feel like it's because Australia is not as exposed to Africans as say the UK or the US. I feel like you don't feel too different as a Ghanaian. You feel more African. You just feel like an African.
Really?
Yeah. Because
like,
everybody...
Like African as one, as in Zimbabwe, Uganda,
That's
Nigeria?
right. That's right. Because Australia is a very white country. So majority of people see every African as just African. They don't really distinguish. It's only like people that get close to you that figure out that, oh, she's actually from West Africa, Ghana.
Okay.
That's right. But the experience in general was good. It was a lot of educating, a lot of like teaching people what your culture is, what it's like to live here, what Ghana looks like, that kind of thing. Yeah.
So, I mean, you saying everyone was basically all like jumbled up in one. Did you ever like have maybe a Ghanaian community that would teach you a little bit more about your roots? I know that you kind of knew a bit because you were here from when you were young, but is there a Ghanaian community in Australia, or is legit just Australians, Africans?
No, so there is a Ghanaian community, but it's not really an educational community. It's more like, this is where you go to have a party. They do the whole parties.
Wow.
They wear the, African print. They cook Ghanaian food, that kind of thing. So that's where you get a little bit of exposure to the Ghanaian culture.
I see.
If you've never been to Ghana and you're from the Ghanaian background. Yeah.
So then what is it that made you leave Australia to come back to Ghana whilst you're 30 to be like, this is where I'm going to start my life, or, continue my life for now?
So when I left at 17, I knew I'll be back. I don't know. I don't know how. I just felt like I will be back someday. I didn't know when or how that would look like. And I just started planning around when I turned 25, somewhere there. That's when I started planning. And then at 30, I was like, okay, I think I'm ready. I'm just going to go. Yeah.
So you did school and everything in Ghana?
I did part of my high school, and I did my primary school and junior high school in Ghana.
In Ghana.
Yeah.
So being, someone, I'm guessing your accent was a little bit stronger, because you might have had a Ghanaian accent, I guess, because you went to school here and everything.
Yeah.
And then going to Australia, what was that like?
That was actually hard, because everything you say, everyone's like, pardon, what? And I'm like, I can understand you. Why can't you understand me? It makes no sense. But over time, you just start to speak a little more like them. Now I feel like my accent is kind of all over the place.
Now you sound like an Australian.
You reckon? Yeah. I actually don't think so. I feel like it's a mix of everything. I don't know. Anyway.
So you understand, okay, so what language do you understand?
I speak Tree fluently and I speak English.
Okay.
And I understand a bit of Ghana as well, but I can't speak
it. Don't worry, you're still better than me. Most people are better than Drew, unfortunately. Okay, so tell us a little bit about your Ghanaian background then. So where are you from in Ghana?
Okay, so my dad is Ikuapem and my mom is Kwewu. So I think I'm from my mom's side, so I'm Kwewu as well.
Okay.
We're from Abetifi.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So what region is that?
The eastern region. Yeah.
Ding!
See, I know quite a bit about Ghana.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's so funny because all of our guests, when they get the region correct, they're like, yeah. Girl, I'm about to ask you some more questions.
Okay. Test me, Drew.
Okay. Hey, I like the challenge. Okay, cool. So Eastern region, have you been to Kwewu before?
Yes, I have. I went when I was quite little, like around maybe 12 years old, 10 years old, somewhere there. Yeah.
Do you know like anything? Give me an interesting fact about Kwewu.
Kwewu can get very cold in the morning, so you actually feel like you're in Europe or like London somewhere. Yeah.
No, that's true. Actually,
it gets very, very cold early in the morning.
Okay.
So
that's a good interesting fact because you actually really don't feel like you're in Ghana.
No,
and it gets so foggy
as well. And because it's so high up, so yeah, it's really lovely. But that was a while ago. I need to go back.
Yes, girl.
Yeah.
Do you know any traditional Kwewu dances?
Oh no. No, that's not something I've ever seen anyone do. I don't know.
What about?
I don't even know what the dance is called. I don't know if they have a traditional dance. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, in the Eastern region, anything from the Eastern region. To be fair, I don't know either, so I was expecting you to
Yeah.
What about dishes? What is a traditional Kwewu dish?
Okay, so boiled yam or boiled plantain with kontomire, but the grounded one. Yeah,
what's the name of that dish?
That's a bayram pesi and album kontomire album.
No, good.
Yeah.
Well, okay, wait. If you guys don't know, Jasmine is a YouTuber, and on YouTube she goes around Ghana, seeing what life is like as a typical Ghanaian. She also does a lot of cooking.
I do
as well.
I do.
She loves food just like Drew,
I do,
the
absolutely.
foodie. And so, I mean, it's only right that you actually teach me how to cook your traditional dish.
Absolutely.
How's it been now? Moving back to Ghana. You said you've been here for a year now. What's your experience been like so far?
I feel like there's still been a lot of settling in because I was away for so long. There was still a little bit of culture shock, still getting used to a lot of things. But generally speaking, it's been okay because I still have extended family here, and I think having that support just made everything really smooth. So.
Yeah.
And speaking the language made a massive difference.
You are lucky that you can speak the language. What would you say is one of the biggest culture shocks that you received when you came back?
There was one time when I arrived, my grandma, myself, and my mom, we went to go see family members, and I think it was like a family meeting type of thing. So we were all gonna go say hello, and I didn't realize that you're meant to start greeting from like
was it the left?
Yeah, I think it's the left. And then I go to the other side and everyone's just staring at me like, what the hell is she doing? And I'm so confused. Like,
they were all looking at you.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And then my mom is like, no, come around that way. And then
my
But you would think that's not a big deal,
Thank you.
But it's actually quite important to a lot of people.
To know, honestly speaking, when that happened to me, I was like, but wait, you're still all gonna say, I'm still gonna say hello to all of you.
Yeah.
But it's culture,
that's the tradition.
and respect.
Yeah.
So these are new things that we learn about our country every single day.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, that's an interesting one, settling in. What would you say has been one of your favorite things about Ghana so far? Well, since you've come back.
I think I've always loved the food, and I love that I have access to it like at any time, any day. I love that.
What's your favorite?
I love banku and okra stew.
Ooh,
yeah. I don't like making the banku though. I'll make the stew, someone else make me the banku, and then
Let me see your arm muscles. Like, are you strong?
No, not really. I can't even pound for food or anything. I'll eat it, but I'm not pounding it.
That is so bad. I mean, there is like this stereotype that, people from abroad, like myself, we either don't know how to cook or we don't eat Ghanaian dishes. Yeah. Definitely, I can eat those dishes.
Yeah.
And I can tell you how to make it, but making it, that's where I'm going to be honest and say I can be a little bit lazy. But there's this new thing now actually where instead of pounding, you can send it to the miller And they were like
Yeah, I
grounded
saw
for
that on
you.
YouTube the other day. It doesn't look appealing at all.
She's like, nah. She wants you to put your hard sweat in there, and she'll feel authentic to her.
I'd rather have your fingers all up in it. That adds flavor to it. I'd rather have that.
Oh my goodness. How do you feel like Ghanaians, local Ghanaians have received you as a diasporan in Ghana?
I think everyone's been quite warm. Even though I'm speaking the language, they can still tell that I've come from somewhere.
It's just
somehow.
something. I don't know how they can tell.
Yeah, I don't know. Because I don't
like
even
some
have an
sort of
accent when I
gift.
speak Tree, so I don't know how they just, they're like, hey, we're free, you're fine. I'm like, But people are quite warm. Everyone's quite lovely. I feel like I blend right in.
Oh my gosh. Girl, you do. I'm telling you do. Okay, well, I mean, Jasmine is the foodie. Drew is the foodie. This is a beautiful combo.
Yeah.
Like the best combo I can think of, actually. And so it's only right that you teach us how to make your traditional dish.
I would love to.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
We're about to eat some cook some traditional kwewu. Well, tell me how you say it again.
Kwewu.
No, the dish.
Oh, Bayram Pesi.
Bayram Pesi.
Yes, and Kontumre Abum.
And Kontumbre. Bayram Prinsier and Kontumbre Abum.
Yes, good job, Drew.
Guys, stick us there, don't go anywhere. We're actually going to ask you a question and see how well you local Ghanaians know Ghana. Question for today is, when was the year of return launched? I'll see you guys after this. But wait, do you know?
2019.
Well, we'll see if she's correct. We'll see you guys right after this. Don't go anywhere. This is Roots. Welcome back to Roots. My name is Ms. Drew, your hostess with the mostest, and this is the show where we get into deep conversations with others from the diaspora, just like myself. Now, before we get into that, I mean, a few of you were given some very interesting responses to the question, which was, at which year was the year of return launched? The correct answer is 2019. Yes, 3 years ago. Imagine. Time really does fly. Now, if you're just tuning in, I'm sure a few of you are wondering, what is Drew doing in the kitchen? Well, if you know me, then you know I love me some food. But I'm here with the Kwewu princess, Jasmine Djan, and she is going to be teaching me how to make her traditional local dish from Kwewu. Okay, so it's called abum. Abum. Aha. You see? Now, I'm sure some of you think I know how to eat and I don't know how to cook, but let me show you what is on this table, and I know it. She didn't tell me. We have salmon. We have our momoni, that is the smelly fish. We have our meko, which is the pepper, scotch bonnet. Palm oil. Now, you see it a lot in all of your stews. We have our spinach, also known as kontombre. And our yam. How do you say yam in Chi? Bayre. Cool.
Good job.
So, girl, let's do this. What's first? We're about to cook, guys. So.
Okay, so the yam will probably take the longest to cook. So maybe we're going to cut that up, peel it, and then cut it up in small pieces. Do you want to do that for me?
I'm going to do that for you.
Cool. There you go.
Guys, I know how to cook, okay? I know how to cook.
So you have you
I
or have you not?
I have made yam before, just not
job.
in Ghana. Okay. So, I mean, Jasmine, tell me a little bit more about your Ghana experience. So, tell us a little bit more about what you're doing here now.
Okay, so I do YouTube. I found that there was a space for showcasing just regular Ghanaians on YouTube. I felt like it was very saturated with people that showcase like touristy stuff and basically the really expensive hotels and all that stuff. So I just wanted to showcase the lives of everyday Ghanaians. So, you know, your regular ice water seller, chore driver,
Yeah.
a tea bread seller, that type of thing. So then I started doing like a day in the life type thing with them. So it's that's like the main focus of my channel. And I also showcase a lot of cooking as well, like traditional Ghanaian cooking. Yeah.
So where did you learn how to cook then?
I learned how to cook from my grandmom, from YouTube, and from my mom as well.
You learned how to cook from YouTube?
Yeah.
Wow. Are there lots of like how to make?
Tons of tutorials on how to make different Ghanaian dishes.
Are they like young people? Is like real aunties, like your auntie
really.
Gifty?
You'd actually find young people that are doing it, and you would find like aunties as well. But it's not that many aunties actually.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Okay, so if you could, you know, change one thing about Ghana, coming from the diaspora, what would it be?
I will change the roads.
Oh gosh.
I would change the roads, and I think I would also encourage for like maybe 100% of people to actually educate themselves, because I feel like even at this point in time, not everybody has access to education. So I think that's an important thing for all of us. And I think internet access.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, internet access is, I feel like people underestimate the importance of internet access and how far it can take you.
Yeah.
So I think everybody having access to that will make a significant difference.
For real.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Oh. So tell me about like some of the nicest things that you've seen. One of your, no, actually a memorable moment with you being in Ghana so far.
I think there's been quite a few. Like I've been traveling around, well, not that many places, but I went to the north recently.
Yes,
that was really lovely, and it was just nice to see.
You saw the elephant?
I did.
Guys, check my YouTube channel and of course Jasmine's as well. When I went to Zena Lodge, that was nice.
That's right. Yeah, it was lovely, and just like the way people live over there is so different to the way people live out in Accra and Tema and stuff. So it was nice to see a different perspective on, you know, lifestyle and stuff out there. That was nice. And yeah.
So what is something that you would tell other, you know, diasporans that are, you know, abroad wanting to come to Ghana?
I think the most important thing is decide on why you want to come, because it's not going to be smooth sailing. You know, there's going to be some hard parts to the whole thing. So if you know why you want to come and your why is strong enough, then you can survive once you move.
Yeah.
And just make solid plans around how you want things to look like for you. How do you want to make money? Where do you want to live? All that stuff.
Well, I know you bought your house when you were here.
Yeah.
So what was that experience like, buying a house? Or did you buy it when you were abroad? And then you came to meet it here, or you had someone showing you the ropes? Like, how was the whole buying a house experience?
So I came on holiday. I took a 6-week holiday purposely to buy a house. So
6 weeks holiday.
Yeah. So I didn't do anything else besides trying to find a place.
Guys, I'm not struggling, I promise.
Are you sure, Drew? Please don't cut yourself.
I am not struggling, I promise. Keep going.
Yeah, so I took that holiday purposely to find a place to buy. And I did have help though. I had someone who helped take me around, helped me meet agents and stuff like that. And then finally I found a place.
So was it easy then? Or
it was pretty straightforward. It was just really time consuming, that's all. Because, you know, we visited so many properties and there was a lot of delays with a lot of things and stuff like that.
So what is it that made you want to live basically in Tema?
Because when I lived in Ghana, I lived in Tema.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. So it's like home.
Exactly.
They
so
call
my
Tema,
extended family lives here.
Little London.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what like my grandma used to say. She was like, yeah, they call Tema Little London.
Ah,
okay. Because apparently people from Tema were like cute and bougie. Yeah.
Ah, really?
And all the best singers come from Tema, you know. So TM for life, just saying. But okay. That sounds nice. At least it wasn't really that hard then.
No, it was
you had help.
I did have help. I couldn't have done it on my own though. Absolutely not.
Oh God. Yeah. Okay, so how much yam do we want?
I don't know. How much are you gonna eat?
Because it's taking me so It's so much energy for me to cut. I'm not that hungry anymore.
So I'm gonna put the contomere and everything on top, along with the chilies.
Oh.
Yeah, just to.
Okay.
So we're gonna cook it all
soften
together. Exactly. And then just grind it, or it doesn't take that long to cook.
Oops, lost the one.
You know what? We're just gonna grind everything. Usually you go the chilies first and then the contomere, but we're just gonna grind everything together.
Smells good, guys. Smells really good. I didn't even know you could do it like this, actually.
Yeah, it's like time saving. Do you know where I learned how to make this? On a farm.
Really?
Yeah. So we went on holiday to Abetifi, and my grandma's sister was going to the farm. She was like, only the adults can come. I was like, no, I want to go. So I followed her, and I regretted going. But the food
Why did you regret going?
It was so far away. Like, it was like walking from here to, I don't know, Accra somewhere.
No way.
Yeah, it was really.
Girl, you're exaggerating.
I'm serious.
Hey.
And she was like 70 and it was nothing to her. She was carrying all this firewood, just walking.
No.
Yeah, and I didn't even have to carry anything. I was just following her and I'm like, oh my God, why did I come? Why did I do this to myself?
So I guess like the to teach as a treat for doing all that walking was making this.
Yeah, she made everything on the farm. All she had from home was salt and oil. That was it.
Oh wow.
She got the yam, she got the contomere. I was like, I've never had anything as delicious as this before.
Oh,
I
and
still
it was
haven't
probably like
matched
really
it.
fresh.
It was. I don't think I've had anything that's like it before. So now
The
we can
yam
grind
looks like
this.
it's nearly done.
Yeah, it's done.
Okay,
So
yeah,
we're gonna-
nice and soft. While you're grinding that, is this going to be the pan or you're going to use a smaller pan for your oil?
we're going to use, so maybe you can do that. I'll get you another pan and then you can use that to fry that. Good job, Drew.
Thanks, see? Boom. Okay,
So once that pan is hot, you pour the oil in.
we're gonna put all of this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, we're gonna pour all of it, and I want to. So how it's made traditionally, they don't really do anything with this. They just put it on top. But I like to fry this up a little bit, take this out, and then flavor it with this, and then the onions.
Okay, so we
put
heat up the oil.
Yes, and then we'll fry this up a bit.
Okay.
Take it out.
Okay.
And then put the momoni. And then put the onion. And then we're going to pour that over this.
That's the Jasmine style way.
Yes. People say this is not salmon. This is a different type of fish. But
Yeah.
I don't know. All right.
I don't think so. Is this okay or?
Let it fry a little bit. So just leave it. Let it fry a little bit for like 5 minutes. And then you take it out. Because it's already cooked. It's just like, I don't know. Flavors a bit
Double,
more.
yeah. Wow, this is a lot of stew.
It is. All for you, Drew.
Oh, girl. I'm trying to be vegan right now. So,
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
But this is healthy.
Yes.
Actually, minus the oil, but this is healthy.
How's that going so far for you?
Well, I'm trying to get my sexy back, you know, and
We're trying to be vegan with Ghanaian dishes. I feel like unless you eat plantain and beans all the
plantain
time,
and beans.
I don't know what else can you
Or
eat.
there's vegan restaurants.
Don't burn yourself.
It's like, what's it called? I'm getting him. There's some vegan restaurants
Yeah.
available in Ghana.
Okay.
But if you can't obviously eat out all the time.
Yes.
So it's all about trying to figure out different things. But I'm experimenting with my foods.
That's
And
good.
so it's good.
Good. Oh, Drew's dancing. That's a good sign.
Oh, I'm excited.
Now I'm excited too. The pressure's off.
Oh, girl.
Yeah.
So We pour that on top of
and
here.
that's it. We add this, and then usually you can add boiled eggs to it as well, which we can because we do have eggs.
Oh,
Yeah, so
now I'm really whetting my appetite,
but that doesn't help your vegan journey, does it?
girl.
No
I already now
veganism
cheated with
forbidden.
the salmon,
true,
so
true.
let's cheat. I'm joking.
Okay, I'll just leave this for like 2 minutes, and then we will pour it over.
And traditionally in Kweru, they eat from
That pot, yeah.
which
the
is called
asanka.
asanka.
Actually, they don't say asanka, they say ayewa.
Ayewa.
Ayewa,
Ah.
yeah, ayewa.
So asanka is which
It's
dialect?
the same thing. Oh, I think that's Ashanti.
Ashanti.
Yeah.
Fancy.
Ashanti.
Ashanti and Tria is what?
Ashanti is what's it called? A dialect under Tree. So Tree is the broad, and then Ashanti, Ekiapim, all those come under Tree.
Well done. Ding, 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 ding. Oh my gosh, the food is here. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh,
good,
guys.
doesn't it?
It looks amazing. I'm sure it's going to taste as good as it looks. This is a traditional dish from the Kweru land.
That's right.
Abom.
Yes, Abom
Lovely.
and Bayre.
Abom and Bayre.
That's it.
Well, Father God, we thank you for this food. Bless the hands that made the food. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Ready
Let's
to
dig in. Okay, so we take some here and some. Okay.
Is it good?
Guys, this of course is another episode of Roots. I'm with your girl, Jasmine Amma. Jasmine, do you have any last words for our viewers? I mean, it is Ghana month, and we are celebrating Ghana, our roots, our heritage, our independence. So, any last words to our viewers?
I think just continue being proud of the culture. Ghana has amazing culture. If you're not exposed to it, maybe go to your hometown, go learn a thing or two. You can learn the cooking, you can learn the dance. So much to explore, and yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
It is, because it's time to eat. As a mom to see, guys. See you same time, same place next week. My name is Miss Drew, and this is Roots.